Y'all have any success from this past week? You can put in the chat box for us. Anything that's going well for you? Any particular meals you're enjoying? How are your fasts going? Let us know. We're going to dive in. So feel free to put in the chat box as we go. We're going to talk about eating out. So life is about balance, not fasting all the time, not eating all the time either. But eating out is one of life's treasured experiences. And my husband would wholeheartedly agree. He loves to eat out. And I'm not going to avoid it because it's something that he enjoys. And I'm sure you feel the same way with other people in your life when someone says, do you want to grab lunch? Do you want to grab dinner? Is there a little bit of hesitation because you're not sure how that's going to go? Or have you found some ways to adjust the lifestyle with eating out? If so, let us know. What are you doing? Let us know in the chat box. There's no reason to avoid eating out. So we can follow some simple guidelines to help us succeed when we do eat out. And most restaurants offer good low carb choices. We just got to look for them. So any good low carb choices you're eating when you eat out? I just ate out last night. My husband and I have like a standing Sunday dinner, date night. Babysitter comes and we go eat dinner. Last night we went to the local steakhouse. So we split a ribeye and I did some spinach on the cream spinach on the side with it. And it was awesome. So it's kind of one of my go-tos. And then another would be like, there's another restaurant in town. I love their salmon, and they have salmon and spinach. That's another go-to. Also, I don't love cooking steak and I don't love cooking fish. So that's really my excuse to get those when I eat out because I know that a chef is going to do it so much better than I can. So steak, fish, find some veggie sides. Fish is your go-to, yeah. And if you don't see any veggie sides that work, you can always do a side salad with the meat, and that's perfect too. Nice. Corky's. I've done that eating out too. Smoked chicken with greens and slaw. That sounds really similar to what I would order from Corky's, and I bet that was awesome. All right, you're making me miss Memphis a little bit. So here's our 3 tips for eating out at restaurants. Say no to the bread. All right, so the waitress did bring bread to our table last night, and honestly, I didn't even notice it. Typically, I don't anymore because it's just not something I go for. And my husband doesn't either. And she came back with our main dish and was like, okay, so it's a no on the bread. And I felt bad because it was a whole basket full and like homemade, like butter and stuff that went with it. And I was like, I'm so sorry. I really should have told you before you set it down because that's such a waste of food. But you can just say no. A lot of times I don't because my husband might want it. So if you're that type of person where other people at the table might want the bread and it's got to sit there and it's really tempting to you, like I was really hungry when we got there, so that bread may have been tempting, but I ordered a salad as soon as I sat down. So I found a salad on the menu, and I went ahead and got that going. So if you need help with avoiding the bread or avoiding the chips or whatever it is they set down, kind of just like go ahead and find like a side salad to get on the table. Um, all right, what else? For main dishes that contain bread, buns, wraps, things like that, you can ask for them without the bun. So I love that. I think it's at Houston's. I love their cheeseburger, and I got it one day with a side salad without the bun on the burger, and it was awesome. Like you don't even need the bread. Once you get past like thinking that you need bread without anything, honestly, like bread gets in the way at this point because I don't want the bread filling me up like that. And it tastes just as good, probably better to have the meat on its own with the salad or the side or whatever you're gonna get. So that's kind of my go-to if I want something that's like I see a sandwich on the menu I want, like even what's the restaurant? There's like a little Italian restaurant, Old Venice, Venice Kitchen is what it is in Memphis. They have a grilled chicken sandwich that looks really good. It's grilled chicken with avocado and pepper jack cheese, and I'll get that with a side salad. Put that on top of the salad. It's awesome. So you can do things like that. You can replace the starchy sides with a side salad or vegetables. It doesn't have to come with potatoes. It doesn't have to come with fries, rice, pasta, those type of things. You can typically swap them out. Now, that's not going to be easy if the main dish is pasta, so I typically don't go for a pasta dish. Um, or if it's like a stir fry, that's going to be hard to replace the rice or the pasta. But it's like steak and potatoes or like the grilled chicken sandwich at Venice Kitchen came with fries. So I just replaced that out with a salad. So you can swap things around. It's totally fine to ask. And then ordering cheese or tea and coffee instead of dessert. So this is something I really leaned into when I was pregnant. And my husband loves to have a couple glasses of wine at dinner. So we're usually there longer than the meal takes. And we'll be at the end of the meal and he has a full glass of wine. So at that point, when I was pregnant and even post pregnancy, I can't drink like more than a glass of wine. And so if he's still enjoying a glass of wine, I will get a decaf coffee. Or if they have teas are awesome too. Like some restaurants will come out like so fancy with a whole box of teas. And that's a lot of fun. And they'll come out with cute little saucers with the cream or whatever you want to add to it. I did it at Jinsei the other night for sushi. So he was still finishing his wine, so I ordered a tea, and they brought out this like cast iron teapot with this beautiful little cast iron cup, and it was chilly out too, so it was nice to like warm up before we headed out into the cold. So that was last Sunday's date night. Tea or coffee at the end of a meal, it can be decaf, is perfect. Now, I've never seen a cheese plate. I've never gone back like for a cheese plate for dessert, but you could do that. You could order a cheese plate with nuts, things like that. If you need something savory at the end of a meal, you're still kind of hankering for something, you could try a cheese plate. I have not done that, but you could do it. All right. Hibachi. You can get the double veggies and leave off the fried rice. Oh, that's perfect. And they have like the best sauces too. And sauces are a free for all, right? I'm kidding. They're not. As long as they don't have sweeteners in them, then yes, probably like that white sauce you get with hibachi would be perfect. Okay, holidays. We got Easter coming up. Maybe some other celebrations I'm not thinking of. St. Patty's Day is coming up. Nice. Marigos has a good tea selection. You just never know when you ask for tea, like what they're gonna come out with. You never know. It's always a surprise and it's always kind of fun. Um, all right, with holidays, it's not a good idea to break your fast at the celebration. So it is a good idea to, so it's East, let's talk Easter because it's probably one of the bigger holidays coming up. It's typically Easter lunch for most people. So eat breakfast that day because you don't want to break your fast when you get to the lunch. It's going to be overwhelming with the amount of foods. It's going to be hard on our willpower if we're fasting and then we're faced with an entire buffet of foods, which is typically how my family Easter goes. Um, so eat eat breakfast that morning. Try to let's not make that day a fasting day. And then if it's a dinner, if you're having Easter dinner, maybe you break your fast at lunch, have a really nice, healthy lunch, like a big salad or something, so that you're not starving when you show up for dinner. I know a lot of times in our minds, we're like, it's the holiday meal and I haven't had those foods in forever. So I'm just going to wait to eat till I get there. I'm going to be so hungry and I'm going to eat everything. And that's the mindset we're used to going in with, but we're going to reverse that mindset and try to go into it with a little more food in our belly, a little more willpower in our head before we get there. All right. You want to take things to the event that are helpful to you. So I'm like a big fan of charcuterie. That's kind of always been my go-to for the family events. It's easy because I have little ones that like certain things. Like my 1-year-old will eat every single blueberry on the tray. So I can like load up a tray with blueberries. I like the cheese and the olives and the nuts, and I can eat all of that without feeling bad. Um, like, because a lot of times you show up and it's like chips and dip, and that's not something I really wanna dive into. I mean, I used to, but not the way I'm eating nowadays. It's so much more satisfying having, like, the cheese, the nuts, and the olives, and you could do something very simple like that and then throw some fruit on there, and that's something that you can eat. You can add that to your main plate. You can eat it as the appetizer. Maybe you take a side dish. I love to take a salad because no one else in my family is gonna bring a salad, and it's nice because my uncle does, like, phenomenal meat, so there's always gonna be a really good protein. I can do the protein, and I can load up my plate with whatever salad I make. Easy. I've done a Brussels sprouts and bacon salad that's awesome. It's like Brussels sprouts, bacon, and, like, dried cranberries with a really yummy dressing. You could take a dessert such as dark chocolate if you want. You can have a little bit of dark chocolate. It's good for you, and it's nice to incorporate at the end of a meal. All right, so try to think of something that you could bring that might be helpful to you when there's so many choices at our holidays. If you cannot avoid the grains or the starches, eat them last. So you want to fill up on protein and healthy fats first. And then if you have to have a bite of Aunt Mary's mac and cheese or my grandmother's sweet potatoes, I'm going to eat it last. I'm going to fill up on the other things first. I'm going to have a little bit of my grandmother's sweet potatoes. Like I'm just not going to have it. And I'm sure you have things like that. Eat them last. It works better for our rise in insulin if we will fill up on the protein and the healthy fats first before we do the carbs. You can incorporate vinegar into your meals to slow down the digestion of carbs and reduce the blood sugar spikes and the insulin surges. So, okay, just chug a little cup of vinegar before you go in. You could do apple cider vinegar. You could sprinkle cinnamon in your tea or coffee while you have dessert, which helps moderate blood sugar levels. So you can have a little bit of dark chocolate, you can have a little bit of coffee with cinnamon, and that could help even things out. Try to avoid snacking during the holiday feast. Ideally, you want to eat within a 60-minute window, so keep that in mind going into it. Uh, you may have to put the appetizers on your main plate or the desserts. You can move the dessert onto your main plate too to kind of condense the meal and limit the amount of time that you're allowing your insulin to go up. So some fun holiday tips. And it's not going to be perfect, okay? Holidays are hard. Just one more thing here. Holidays are tough. I want you to go into it with one goal in mind. What am I going to do? What's my plan? And then when you come out of it, I want you to think what went well and what can I do better next time? So there's going to be plenty of holidays, birthdays, weddings, graduations. There's going to be always be something. So try to go into it with a goal in mind and then come out of it with what did I learn? What can I do better? What went well? What am I going to take with me the next time? All right. Change is hard. 95% of our daily thoughts are unconscious. We're thinking and acting out of our habits most of the time. So creating new habits is not a simple process. It actually requires active practice and effective reinforcement to make them long-lasting changes. So our mind is automatically drawn to what's familiar, whether it's positive or negative. It's going to avoid what is unfamiliar. So making significant changes in what we eat, our habits of snacking or not, the time of day that we're eating meals, fasting, all of this is new and unfamiliar to our minds. So the old habit of snacking, the eating problematic foods, thinking we can't lose weight, eating on a schedule regardless of whether we need food or we're hungry or not, these are all familiar and have been reinforced into our unconscious mind. So these habits are accessed first. So just going back to it's a holiday, I'm gonna wait and eat till I'm going to wait and eat until I get there. And I'm going to load my plate up with all these yummy foods because I never get to eat them. Well, yes, we do. We get to eat them like multiple times a year. And, it's not our last meal. I feel like that's how we go into holidays a lot of the time. So let's focus on our why. It's crucial to know why you're doing this. Why are you embarking on changing behaviors? Why are you trying to change your mindset? What kind of outcome are you seeking? And how do you want to feel along the way? Regardless of your age, you are creating your life from here forward. So, what positives will these changes bring to the life you're creating? What negatives will these changes prevent? For example, being able to be active and mobile in retirement with your grandkids, your nieces, your nephews, your own children, or maybe resolving resistance can mean that you maintain good brain health and it will not be tied to numerous medications and treatments for the rest of your life. What is your big why? What is your big reason? And it might just make it worth skipping meals, making different food choices, and making these habits really stick. All right, so our action points for the week are to prepare in advance. When you're planning on eating dinner out, try looking at the menu in advance and see how it adheres to your nutrition plan. That's like the number one thing that you can do. If it's not a place that you're familiar with, like I have restaurants where I just know what I'm going to get, and that makes life so much easier. Okay, we're getting Mexican. I'm gonna get a taco bowl. We're going to Obi's. I'm gonna get this salad. If we're going to the steakhouse, we're gonna get steak and spinach. Like kind of knowing what you like and what works for the plan is really helpful as you grow into eating out with this lifestyle in mind. And then eating a small meal at home, high in natural fat, ahead of going out can help you prevent from eating unwanted foods at either the restaurant or the event. So that's another good point. Try not to go into the restaurant starving. But if you do, I'd automatically be like, hi, I would like a side salad pronto before I make any rash decisions. And then know your why. So identify what you want, how you want your health and weight to be in the future, how you want to feel, what abilities you want to have, what opportunities you want to access, and what unpleasant health and weight realities you want to avoid. Make it really tangible and strengthen the visual by imagining what this looks like. And then you can create a mantra or affirmations that talk about it as if it's already happening and completely possible. So, what we say in our minds is very important. So, what are we saying our why is? Why are we doing this? What is really pushing us forward and creating this lifestyle for ourselves? What is it going to create for us? Um, to know your why and plan ahead are the action points for this week. And probably perfect if any of y'all are going into spring break. This might be really helpful. I know we'll be doing a lot of eating out, and you can't eat. I mean, you could really mess up your plan eating out on spring break, or you could really make it work. So I want you to practice, and I want to hear how it goes for you if you go eat out between now and next week. All right, so speaking of spring break, I'm out next Monday. I need to chat with Leah and see what the plan is. If I had to guess, she is either going to teach my class or she's going to record her class and send it out to y'all if you can't make her Tuesday at 8 a.m. I will check with her today and let you know, but I'll see you in 2 weeks and I'll be in contact about the plan for next week. Hope y'all have a great week. It's only Monday. Hope you have a great week, and I'll see you in 2 weeks. Bye, everyone.